The first person to forgive me was the son I hurt the most. The second never did. I was 83 when my younger son looked me in the eyes and calmly said, "Mom, I won't be one of the men carrying your coffin." I wasn't dying. At least, not yet. But hearing those words felt like attending my own funeral. If you stay with me, I'll tell you why one sentence made me revisit 50 years of motherhood, and why loving your children equally isn't the same as making them feel equally loved. I had 2 boys born only 22 months apart. Daniel was the oldest. Michael was the youngest. Daniel entered every room as if the world had been waiting for him. He was captain of the football team, class president, and the kind of boy teachers remembered years later. Michael. He preferred books to people. He could spend an entire Saturday building tiny wooden boats in our garage without saying 10 words. I loved them both. At least, I truly believed I did. Their father adored Daniel. "He'll go far," he'd say. "He has leadership." Whenever Daniel won another trophy, we celebrated with dinner at his favorite restaurant. When Michael quietly won a statewide science competition, I baked him a pie. Looking back, that wasn't the same thing. Daniel received applause. Michael received appreciation. One feels public. The other feels private. Children noticed the difference. As the years passed, Daniel needed rescuing more often. At 19, he crashed his car. His father and I paid for another. At 26, he lost a business after making reckless investments. We emptied half of our savings to help him recover. At 34, his marriage fell apart. He lived with us for nearly 11 months. Every time he stumbled, we ran. Michael never asked for anything. He paid his own college tuition with scholarships and evening jobs. When he bought his first house, he invited us for dinner. I remember complimenting the garden. I don't remember asking how many years he'd saved to afford it. That memory still shames me. My husband died when I was 65. Daniel cried loudly at the funeral. Michael quietly stood beside me the entire day, making sure I drank water, spoke to relatives, and rested between visitors. Everyone praised Daniel for his grief. Almost no one noticed Michael's strength, including me. After the funeral, Daniel called almost every week. Usually because something had gone wrong. His water heater. His taxes. Another loan. Another broken promise. I helped every time. Michael called too. Not because he needed anything. Just to ask. "How are you today, Mom?" Strangely, those were the calls I ended first. "I'll let you go, sweetheart. I know you're busy." Busy doing what? Loving me quietly. Years slipped by. At 78, I decided to write my will. I divided everything equally. The house. Savings. Jewelry. Furniture. It seemed fair. I proudly told both boys. Daniel smiled. Michael simply nodded. Then he asked a question I wasn't expecting. "Mom, can I ask you something?" "Of course. When was the last time you needed me?" "Instead of what I could do for you." I laughed nervously. "What kind of question is that?" He smiled. "Never mind. I should have answered it." Instead, I changed the subject. 5 years later, on my 83rd birthday, both sons came for dinner. Daniel arrived an hour late with another apology. Michael arrived early and quietly helped set the table. After dessert, Daniel left first. He had another meeting. Another obligation. Another reason. Michael stayed behind to wash dishes. As we stood in silence, I suddenly asked, "Have I been a good mother?" He didn't answer immediately. Then he dried his hands with a kitchen towel and looked directly at me. "You loved us both." I smiled. Then he continued, "But you admired him and depended on me." The room became painfully still. "I spent my whole life trying not to become another problem for you. I thought if I stayed responsible enough, one day you'd look at me the way you looked at Daniel." I couldn't breathe. He wasn't angry. That made it worse. He wasn't accusing me. He was simply telling me the truth. Then he said the sentence I'll never forget. "When the time comes, I won't help carry your coffin." I stared at him. He gently continued, "I've carried enough." Then he kissed my forehead and quietly walked out. I sat alone in my kitchen until sunrise. Every memory I had carefully polished suddenly looked different. Daniel had occupied my worries. Michael had carried my peace. One demanded attention. The other quietly protected it. And I had mistaken silence for strength. The following week I drove to Michael's home without calling first. He opened the door wearing old jeans covered in sawdust. For a moment we simply stood there. Then I said, "I owe you an apology that is about 40 years late." He invited me inside. I didn't try to defend myself. I didn't explain. I simply apologized. For celebrating noise more than consistency. For confusing independence with not needing love. For expecting him to always understand. When I finished, he looked at me for a very long time.
"The year he won that science competition. I made this after you couldn't come to the awards ceremony," he said. "I figured you were busy." I picked it up carefully. Inside the tiny cabin was a folded piece of paper. He smiled. "I wrote something in there when I was 12. With trembling fingers, I unfolded it. It read, 'Maybe next time she'll come.'" I broke. Not politely. Not quietly. I cried like a mother who had finally met the child she'd overlooked all along. Today I'm 86. Michael and I speak every Sunday. Not because something is broken. Just because we want to hear each other's voices. Last month he surprised me. He handed me a small wooden boat. On the bottom he'd written today's date. Inside was another note. This one said, "You came this time. I keep it beside my bed." As for the coffin, a few months ago I asked him if he'd changed his mind. He smiled gently. "I hope that day is still far away."